Thursday, everyone. I'm just going to give it a few minutes, like 1 or 2 minutes before I get started with everything. But welcome, and I hope that you're all okay on this rather dark already Thursday, which, I just can't wait for summer. Let me know in the chat that everything's okay and that you can hear me properly. Just want to make sure that everything is going well before I get started. Let me know where you're tuning in from. That would be quite cool in the chat. Okay, amazing. Hello, welcome. So, just as a quick starter, we might as well get started while everyone's saying hello in the chat. Just want to introduce you to Girls in Marketing. If you have never been to a Girls in Marketing webinar before, we are a community and an online platform on a mission to empower and educate women on their marketing journey through group support, online resources, and virtual events. So I'm super excited for you all to be here tonight to get some tips and tricks and just generally enjoy this night. I know it's so crazy that the world is still as it is a year on from how it was in 2020, but I want to make sure that we're all feeling empowered and we get some education as well. So I can see all of the comments coming in. So we've got people from all over the world, it seems like. Amazing. Okay, so let's just get into it. Before I do, I just want to introduce myself. So I am Olivia. I am the founder and managing director of Girls in Marketing. And if you can't already tell, I am from Liverpool. I have obviously an accent. But connect with me on LinkedIn. There's a QR code there. I want to connect with lots more people. If you aren't already connected to me, please do connect. That would be great. You can just give me a personalised message saying that you attended tonight and you want to connect. That's great. Seen someone a while ago that did a QR code on a webinar and I'd never done it before, so I thought it's quite cool and it's easy. So you just scan it and it goes straight to my profile. So if you're not already connected, make sure that you do. So yes, networking, that's what we're going to be chatting about today. What we're going to cover today in particular, so the importance of networking, how you can benefit from networking and how you can benefit your career, conquering the fear when you are networking in real life, as well as in virtual events as well, because I know that they're a big thing at the moment. Finding your inner confidence when you are networking and successfully networking, how to do it well, especially virtually, because I know it is a lot different to networking in person. The best ways to network, and then I'm also going to chat to you about our new Girls in Marketing Member Society, which launches on Monday, so just so that you get an overall idea of everything. But thank you all for being here tonight. I understand you cannot see me on the screen, but I can see everyone's comments. My internet's been playing up today, so I can't have camera on, so I'm in my comfy PJs, I'm chilling. I hope everyone else is chilling. If you've got a cup of tea, coffee, hot chocolate, just sit back, relax. You can take some notes if you want, but in all honesty, this is just to get some tips out there and just to kind of break down some barriers when it comes to networking, because I think we have a lot of ideas of what networking is, and I want to kind of conquer some of those myths. So, what actually is networking? Now, I think we have this really strange idea of networking because it's really scary. It's such a scary concept for some people because, and it was for me definitely as well, because it is very much put in the limelight of networking, and you need to get out there, you need to put your name out there, and you need to have loads of contacts, and everyone needs to like you and know who you are. But in all honesty, networking is just literally the exchange of information and ideas among people within a common profession or, a kind of special interest. And usually it's in an informal setting. So obviously, typically it would be kind of in an event space, but at the moment it's very much virtual. Now, as marketers, networking is a key element of our connection building, and connections are everything when you're working in such a huge industry. We have hundreds of in industries, what's totally different to most other professions is that you could have a marketer who does a certain type of marketing and works in a certain industry, and you might not know anything about that industry or anything about that side of marketing, but you both classed as working in marketing, which I think is amazing, but equally it can be then quite scary to network with people. And it's always best to kind of gravitate towards the people that you relate to on some level, whether they have a similar interest to you or whether they are in kind of a similar industry, in terms of whether it's beauty or fashion or kind of technology, digital, whatever your interest is or wherever your kind of job sits. That is how I would say is the best way to kind of network with people. So networking is so much more than just chatting to people every now and again. You've got to put yourself out there. I think there's this huge idea that networking is very much kind of just chatting to everyone and anyone and having all these amazing contacts from all these different places, saying that, you know the CEO of this place or the head of marketing at this place. But in reality, that is not networking at all. And I think we've got that idea because it's pushed upon us, especially on professional networks like LinkedIn. We are kind of in this ideal of we've got to network with these super head of managerial people that just have these amazing jobs, especially when you're just getting started out. And a lot of people say you should network with, people who in your industry who are really high up, and it gets really confusing. So I want to kind of break down the jargon so that people understand a little bit more about networking in general and how you can do it successfully and actually enjoy it as well. I know it is a really scary concept, especially if you've never done it before, but it is easier in the current situation. And I do talk about this a little bit in a few slides, and just talk about how, because everything's virtual, I do think that it's easier. Now, why is networking so important? Well, networking can introduce you to a whole new world in terms of marketing. You could be working in a certain role and not realise the world of potential from another role or another industry, but chatting to other people, it makes you realise those possibilities. So whether you are a student or a graduate or you are a professional, sometimes we are working in these jobs and we love marketing, or maybe we don't love the industry that we're in, or possibly, we want a whole career change. Networking can open these possibilities and make you realise that sort of marketing actually exists, because you might have a certain passion for something and you might think, I want to work in marketing for that area, but you don't realise that area actually exists. So it's great for that. And networking can also build your confidence. So I will talk a little bit more about this in a second. But as you chat to more people about your industry and about what you do, you will ultimately become more confident in your job and in tasks. And then you're creating even more opportunities for yourself. Now, in particular, if you are a student or a graduate, networking can do you the world of good. It can really give you a head start on a job hunt. Having connections from different industries, it'll mean that you're better set. Plus, it's nice to have friends in a similar profession as well. Not everyone will always have that real drive to do something as you do, especially when it comes to marketing. I often find some people are super, super passionate and some people just see it more as a job. And that's totally okay either way, but you want to make sure that you're networking with the right people, with the best people that will be a connection to you. So first things first, you'll want to stay away from one-off events that call themselves networking. So I know at the moment there's been a lot going around on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere, saying about these networking events. And I mean, it is very tempting to go to these networking events, especially, when they're free and people think, I'll go to this event, I'll meet these lots of people and I'll change my whole life in one evening. But that's just not how it's going to work. The truth is, people who attend these events, they're not interested in relationships with you or with other people. They're just wanting that initial contact and nothing more from that. And I think it's sad in a way, but equally you're not building anything from that network in the first place. Obviously, the networking part of things is important, but equally building the relationship is the next step to networking. A lot of people forget about that step. Most people are just like, oh, I made this contact at this event, but you haven't ever talked to them since that event. So are they really someone you've networked, or is it just something that you like to kind of brag about and talk about? Now, forming genuine relationships is the heart of marketing. It's not about, and it shouldn't be about, how many people you know, but the relationships that you have within a circle of people from a variety of backgrounds. You want to nurture these relationships with people and don't spread yourself too thinly. I know a lot of people talk about kind of jack of all trades and knowing everyone and all different things, and in all honesty, that is not going to get you where you want to be, and that is also not going to help you build these relationships. Something I want to really put emphasis on right now in this webinar and kind of in general is that networking isn't about the kind of overarchy of, oh, let's just connect and work with different people and say that I know all these people and you don't. It's very much about building that relationship and obviously making the initial contact, but then taking it a little bit further. And I think that if you nurture your relationship with a few different people, you will then go on and have a better relationship with them rather than just spreading yourself too thinly and kind of just connecting with everyone and anyone. I think the same goes for LinkedIn as well. A lot of people just assume that networking is LinkedIn and connecting with people means you've got all these connections, but the reality is just not true. I would rather have 10 really close-knit kind of friends in the industry that I've networked with rather than like 1,000 connections on LinkedIn, because ultimately I know that I could reach out to those 10 people, whereas if I message someone on LinkedIn out of the blue, they might reply, but the likelihood is a lot less than if I was friends with them. I think networking events are very money orientated, and they say, oh, come pitch who you are, pitch like your business or who you're about and what you do, and then you're just expected to kind of get sales and stuff from it. I think there's a lot of networking events that don't really focus on the heart of actually getting to know people, and that's something that I really find is missing a lot with networking events, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a few slides. So basically, just stop going to the odd networking event every other month. Start finding genuine events that interest you and communities with like-minded people. I mean, if you're here tonight, then you're already one step closer than you were yesterday or the day before, because Girls in Marketing is a community, and I would say we're pretty much all like-minded people, which is great. Most of us have, a passion for kind of female empowerment and also a passion for marketing, which is amazing. And I think that going to these one-off events is never going to get you what you want in terms of networking, but being a part of our community definitely will, because we all have a similar interest no matter where we work in marketing, no matter what we do, whether we're a professional marketer or an aspiring marketer. We're all here, and we're all here to celebrate and support each other. I know that sounds so beautiful. The true beauty of networking, it comes when you're not looking for something in return from someone, but you're interested in their life, their business, their career. So that's why I'm saying you need to stop going to these events and just networking because you want to have contacts with someone from a certain industry or a company. You need to start caring about who you're networking with and what their background is and what they're passionate about. And equally, it's great to have contacts in a certain company, but if you really do want to build and nurture that relationship, it needs to go deeper than just going to an event and connecting with them on LinkedIn or giving them your business card. It has to be phone calls, it's got to be messages or chats. It's not always as simple as just connecting with someone and then just kind of leaving it and just saying you have them as a connection. Now, I know that so many people say the more people you know, the more doors that you open, but I don't agree with this at all. I think that building worthwhile relationships is much more valuable than just knowing everyone. Having a kind of close circle is so much more important than just having all these doors from multiple different people, because okay, knowing someone from a certain company might get you that door open, or possibly just kind of a sneak peek into the door. But being friends with someone and being friends with that person will make it so wide open that you'll be able to walk straight in and, talk to someone else and get those connections. And I think something that I want to really kind of promote is not who you know, it's who you know who knows someone else. And I know that might sound a little bit confusing, but everyone always says like, oh, it's who you know to get a job. And I agree with this to an extent, but I think it's not just the people that you know, but it's the people that they know. And I've got a kind of impact strategy that I talk about in a few slides, and I think I really want to put emphasis on this because it's not always just about, knowing all these lots of different people. So something to kind of ponder really is, has networking become more difficult since the coronavirus pandemic? Now, I know it almost seems like a forbidden word at this point, and I'm not the biggest fan of saying coronavirus, but I think that it has become more difficult in a way because in-person events are cancelled, which means you're less likely to go to kind of local events and meet people in your city. And also the reality of the situation is that events aren't likely to happen in the next few months, especially the old style kind of big networking events that everyone kind of has a vision on. Possibly in the next few months we'll have kind of smaller events, but definitely not the big conventions and how we see networking. It's not going to happen anytime soon, especially not in person. However, networking is now mostly virtual, so you will probably know if you've tried networking you're here tonight, so everything's virtual at the moment. And we do anticipate that it'll stay this way for a while. I personally do, and I know that, looking into it, a lot of people, including the government, don't think that will happen anytime soon, which is great for all you people located in the countryside, people who don't necessarily have access to a big city on their front doorstep. I know we have a lot of people within the Girls in Marketing community who are from Scotland. I know that sounds so random, but I've spoken to so many people who are from Scotland, and they always say there's never anything for them in terms of events and stuff like that, which is why they love our community so much. I know we've got a few people tuning in from kind of Scotland way now, but regardless of where you live or anything like that, if you are located in more of a countryside area, then it can be hard to network. But having this right now, everything that's virtual, it's so much easier. And it also opens the doors for networking to be national and even international. I mean, people have introduced themselves on the chat tonight, and we have people from, someone's just said California, from Turkey. So it's crazy the amount of doors that you can open with networking from people on an international level, which when events were in person and not very virtual, there were some that were kind of virtual every now and again, but when they were solely in person, it was a lot more, not necessarily impossible, but just a lot more difficult, and people have to travel. And now you can connect with people from halfway across the world, and you're friends with them and you're connected with them and networking, which is crazy. And building these relationships with people, it is from different time zones, is through Zoom, is absolutely, I think it's cool. Anyway, I couldn't get my words out for a minute then, but you can build these relationships with people from totally different time zones through Zoom. I was reading everyone's comments on Scotland. I definitely agree with the Scotland comment. So the benefits of marketing, and why do people do it? Well, I mean, these are just kind of 5 reasons mainly that I've done it, and also I know other people do it as well. Boost confidence. So as I was talking about before, it's very much the idea of, you have these contacts and you're talking to these people, you go into these events and you are building your confidence with talking to people, although it's not necessarily, I literally just froze. I'm so sorry. That wasn't your computer. Although it's not necessarily public speaking. I couldn't think of the word public speaking. Although it's not necessarily public speaking, it does definitely boost confidence. And I think talking to people can be a really scary concept, and I'm pretty sure people will agree with me. You know, the idea of standing up and talking to people and networking with people, it can be really difficult, but the more that you do it, the more confident you become in doing so. So networking more will ultimately help boost that confidence and just help you in general, whether it's just talking about the industry that you're in or the type of marketing that you do. Having that kind of chats with people will help, hopefully boost your confidence. It also strengthens relationships with people in your industry, which obviously is a key reason that a lot of people network. But something that I've always felt really strongly about is having those really strong relationships. So networking with people in your industry is just so important. It also allows you to get career advice and support, and equally, as the other point says, a potential mentor. So something that I find really interesting is that people often like to reach out for like career advice and support, and ultimately, if you just message someone on LinkedIn, they could reply, and they genuinely could, but the likelihood is, if you know someone a little bit more and you've got that relationship with them and you need some career advice, you know, whether it's about progression in the workplace, whether it's about something we talked a lot about recently with Girls in Marketing, pay rises and salaries and just general support, networking can really help you do that, because you can chat to people in a similar industry or a similar niche as you, talk to them, be open with them, ask them for career advice, brainstorm ideas with them, and just understand a little bit more about the industry, because especially if you're just getting started, then, you know, you could learn so much from people who've been in the industry for like 5, 10, 15, 20 years. But equally, if you have been in the industry for like 20, 10, 20 years, you could learn something from people who are just getting started, because there are so much to learn from so many people. And when I've chatted to a few different women who have been in the industry for literally like 20, 30 years, some of the women, they're really astounded with kind of Girls in Marketing and how amazing and passionate our community is, because we have so many variety of people, different levels, that they always say, you know, it's great to see so many people interested in marketing and kind of getting that career advice and support and stuff. And, you know, if you want to get a mentor and that's something you want to look into doing, networking can be a first step in doing so. And also, it helps to build your personal brand and it gets your name out there. And this is especially important in your local community. Obviously, you know, it's not necessarily for everyone. I know a lot of people talk about personal branding and how to build personal branding and stuff like that. And I don't think it's for everyone. It genuinely isn't. But if you just want to have a name for yourself in like a local area or a local city, or even just networking in a big company. So there are so many companies out there that are really huge, and ultimately you need networking events within those kind of companies as well, which I think, it is really beneficial to network, and I think everyone knows those benefits quite well. One of the biggest hurdles that you will face when you're starting to network is having the confidence to do it and to do it successfully. And you shouldn't let these hurdles stop you from giving it a go, because, as I've talked about before, it does help to build confidence, but having that initial kind of idea and saying, right, I'm going to go to this event, I'm going to enjoy myself, I'm going to chat to some people, it can be really, really nerve-wracking. And not wanting to do it, I do not blame you if you are in that situation right now. But in all honesty, you're only gonna get better at it in time, and having that kind of networking and that confidence, it goes hand in hand ultimately. But just so you know, the biggest hurdle that you will probably face is that. Now, just kind of some quick pointers how you can conquer fear when you're networking. So conquering fear when networking, it's not easy. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to go to your next event and love it and think, it's amazing and I want to do it every day and I don't remember a life without networking. But the reality of it is you will enjoy it as time goes on, as you conquer that fear. you need to remember that, people are also anxious as you are. And, you might be going to this event and thinking, I'm only, going to be in a room full of people that have all these ideas and are so amazing. But the reality of it is everyone's just as anxious as you are, especially if it's their first time as well. So it's not necessarily super kind of scary, because you should think about the fact that other people are just as nervous as you are. And people do put on a facade of being like fearless, but everyone gets stage fright sometimes. I remember when I first started, especially doing kind of webinars and networking events myself, I was so nervous to just kind of do it, because it is really scary when you think about it. Putting yourself out there for people to judge, for people to, talk to, can be a really scary concept. But it doesn't have to be. Like I said before, confidence is the number one reason that women especially can't network or feel that they're not ready to. But don't let that be the case at all. Make sure that you are, using these tips I'm about to talk to you about. So here are some ways that you can conquer fear when you are networking. So number one is prepare yourself. So practice introducing yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect or recited word for word, but it's great to be able to introduce yourself. I remember when I first started networking, I really found it difficult to introduce myself. And a lot of the time when you do network, people will say, right, so introduce yourself. And you might just sit there and think, oh my gosh, I do not know what to say. I don't have anything planned. And I think having that preparation and preparing yourself for that will ultimately mean that you feel more confident, because the fear might come from getting asked a question or not being prepared. So ultimately, prepare yourself and practice introducing yourself as well. So for example, I would say, hi, I'm Olivia. I'm the founder and managing director of Girls in Marketing, which is an online platform and community for women in the marketing industry. Even if you just add something to that, you don't necessarily have to go into your life story or talk about your dog and the pets and all other things. But I think that what you need to do realistically is practice to introduce yourself. Even if you say, I'm so and so, and I do this for my job and I work for this company and this is what we do, stuff like that, it will realistically be the best thing for you to do, is to prepare yourself. So also you want to think about why you're at an event. Even if it is virtual, you want to prepare some questions or cue cards to help you out. If then you have any questions, if anyone asks you if you have any questions, you can avoid kind of fumbling and not really knowing anything, because questions will ultimately be at the end of maybe a networking event, or you're chatting to someone about something and you say, oh, I am here because... and you think, I don't really know why I'm here. So before you go to an event, just think, why are you at that event? Do you want to meet a certain person? Do you want to talk to a certain person? You want to just think about why you're at that event and what you think you maybe bring to the table. Even if you don't have much experience, you can just say, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm a student at this university or this college, and I am really passionate about this area of marketing, or I'm really passionate about just literally anything you want. Literally just, it is an elevator pitch, but I wouldn't necessarily put it across as a pitch, because you're not really pitching yourself, you're just introducing yourself, especially if you don't necessarily have a business idea, or you're not a freelancer. If you're just an everyday kind of marketer in a job, then you want to just be able to introduce yourself, maybe say something that you're particularly passionate about. That's really cool. And for virtual events, I would say that you want to put yourself in a room or a place that you feel most comfortable. So obviously, if there's somewhere in your house that you feel super comfortable, then definitely go there. I always find that my kind of office room with no one in it, with the door closed, is my best place to be when I'm networking. That's where I am now, doing this webinar, because I also feel like if you're in a room with someone, maybe it's a family member or a partner, it can be really off-putting. It might not be the case for you, but it definitely is for me sometimes. If I I'm quite humorous, so I like to be funny sometimes, and I can kind of see my partner in the corner of my eye, like laughing at something that I've said. So I'm not a big fan of being in a room full of people when I'm networking, like online, especially the virtual events, because ultimately you want to feel your most comfortable. You want to have, a glass of water or a drink, a coffee or a tea. You just want to be sat nice, and just feel comfortable. Obviously, if it's a more traditional, professional networking event, then you need to make sure you look presentable. But for most events now, because they are virtual, you can just be like from the waist up, you can be fine. And then also you want to turn your camera on, but turn off the ability to see yourself. So this is something I've discovered in the last, I would say, about a year since we've been virtually networking properly. Your camera on like radiates confidence. However, when you are able to see yourself, that is something that we all hate. When you can see yourself, it's like you have a mirror. When you're at a normal networking event, you wouldn't have a mirror in front of you so you can see all your facial expressions, everything that you're saying and everything that you're doing. But when you're on a virtual networking event, a lot of the time you can see yourself. So what I would suggest is just minimize that tab so you can see everyone else, but you can't see yourself. And ultimately, just turn your camera on, enjoy yourself. I know it's a bit of a contradiction because my camera's not on tonight, but if you turn your camera on and you're talking to people, you will soon conquer that fear. And it's something that I have found so important over the past year, especially since networking virtually. So during the coronavirus pandemic, I have built relationships with people, and I just wanted to put this slide together to show you that it is possible to network during these really strange times. A lot of the time we think that, it's not necessarily always about going to these events and networking with people, but I think, like I said before, having that really small group of connections is so important. And as you can see from the slide, the kind of relationships that I've built with these people, these women are not all in the same industry. They're all in completely different industries. Obviously, Francesca and Claudia and Karina are more kind of marketing related, but then Gabby and Laura aren't. But all of these women are amazing women, and I've loved building a relationship with them through networking. And what I want to kind of put out there is that these 5 faces aren't exactly life changing. I know. And I can't sit here and say I've built a network of 100, 200, 300 amazing people, but I've built a network with these and definitely a few more as well, but these women especially. And ultimately, I have benefited from those connections, but I didn't always want to benefit from those connections. I focused on the relationship building with people, and I genuinely like these women, and I'm not looking for anything from them at all. I just want that connection, and I want to be friends with them. They're all doing amazing things, and I think ultimately, when it comes to it, I didn't connect with them for any other reason but the fact that I enjoy what they do, and I think putting themselves out online is really important. So earlier on, we talked a little bit about relationship building. Now, I want to explain why relationships are much more valuable than simple connections. So this is something called the valuable relationship impact, and I want to talk about this and how this is beneficial and why I'm focused so much on relationship building. So Gabby is a woman that I met in May of last year on Instagram. So she is in the left-hand corner. Now, Gabby has a podcast and a business called Talk 20s, and her platform is amazing. But what happened was she asked me to be on her podcast in July. So we met up for a coffee. We really liked each other back when the world was a little bit relaxed in like the summertime. I'm sure we all can look back and reflect on that amazing time. But back in the summer when things were a little bit kind of more lenient, and I went on Gabby's podcast, and that was amazing, and I really enjoyed that. We had some really great feedback from it. And then when my episodes aired, the Talk 20s podcast, Katie, which was also one of Gabby's connections, messaged me in July as well. And ultimately, I then went on and spoke on her podcast, which came out the other day. And also Katie joined our Girls in Marketing Member Society, But equally, going back to Gabby, she also introduced me to Layla as well, who is the founder of Inspire magazine. So just from knowing Gabby herself and connecting with her, I've had not just one opportunity, but two opportunities, and I've also met two other people, and that's in the space of less than a year. That's around 8 months, and Gabby's also introduced me to lots of other people as well. So it's not just about kind of just knowing all these people, but it's always about these people who know other people. And if you have a really good relationship with someone, so I would say that Gabby is a really good friend of mine now. It's not just a kind of business connection, but having that relationship with people and people enjoying what you're doing can ultimately mean that they kind of talk to other people about you. I know that Katie said that, Gabby has said so much about you and, what you've been doing and how you've been doing and stuff like that. And that was really great to hear from Katie, and then also to help Katie out and go on her podcast as well. So both of the podcasts, if you do want to listen, are on Spotify and everything else. But yeah, it's just great to know that kind of relationship building works really well, because if I hadn't have met Gabby, then I wouldn't have met Layla, I wouldn't have met Katie. And equally, the same with Karina, who was on a few slides ago. She's talked to a lot of people about me and the SEO that I do and kind of freelance stuff that I do as well. So it's just great to know that having that valuable relationship with people is so important. And then moving on from that, you can keep building those relationships and keep building the connections that you get from those relationships as well. So the best places to network where you're going to find people who actually genuinely care: LinkedIn and messages. So obviously LinkedIn is a pretty standard one. I know a lot of people talk about LinkedIn, but you could make the initial contact on LinkedIn. I've talked to a good few people on LinkedIn, and I've built up relationships with people from LinkedIn. Claudia is a really good example of that. However, I would say if you are looking for more kind of deep, meaningful connections with people in terms of networking, Instagram and Facebook groups are great. Local business events, obviously at the moment they're all virtual, but they're still great. You can kind of go on Eventbrite, as I've said before, finding those virtual or in-person events on like Eventbrite and just having a look. Like I said, if they are more kind of they're labelled networking events, then you're possibly not going to get what you want out of it. But if you go to an event that's something that you're interested in, then you definitely will meet someone who is very similar. I know a lot in the chat has talked about imposter syndrome, and I am definitely someone who suffers from that. I know so many people do, but ultimately, networking and building that confidence will help you overcome that in time. Because I know a lot of people talk about winging it, and it's not always just about what you know, and not everyone knows everything, and that's really true. The imposter syndrome happens because we have such an expectation in our heads of ourselves, and we think that we've got to live up to that expectation, but in reality, you don't. No one expects those things of you, and you can think, oh, am I really meant to be here? Maybe I'm not meant to network with these people. I'm not worthy of this networking. But I'm pretty sure that it will be going through most people's heads when it comes to it. And also Clubhouse. So obviously it's new at the moment. Not everyone's on it right now, but so far so good. I've really been enjoying Clubhouse. I'm yet to host a room, building up the confidence to do so, as we talked about confidence before. But I definitely want to get on it and kind of start networking with more people. So if you are on Clubhouse, definitely give me a follow and I'll follow back. I'm just at Olivia Hanlon. Spelt the way it was spelt before. But yeah, Clubhouse is a great way to network with people in your industry. But the best place to network as a marketer, I've got to do some self-promo, is the new Girls in Marketing Members Society. So you can join now if you click the pinned comment at the top. So it's tms.girlsinmarketing.com. And I know I am biased, but we're in the middle of creating a place that you can easily build valuable relationships with people and other marketers at different points in their career for a really, really affordable price. As we were saying before, these networking events can be really expensive, but having that kind of community element of things, we want to make sure that people are building those connections within the industry and also those really valuable connections, as well as upskilling your marketing knowledge at the same time. So right now you can join the Girls in Marketing Members Society for $10.99 a month, and that is for a founding membership. So it's no different to the other memberships, but it's just a cheaper price, and you could only get that until Sunday at midnight. So obviously it's Thursday right now, so you've got tonight, Friday and Saturday, and then literally just Sunday, and that is it. When it comes to Monday, the price will go up and you will not be able to get the founding member price. But the big thing for me really with this is people investing in themselves and in their networking and being able to connect with people on a totally different level. We've wanted to do something like this for so long, and I think something that's really, really powerful is coming together and enjoying what we do as marketers, and I think this society will definitely do that. Just quickly, before we go on to any Q&As, this is what you can expect every month as part of the Member Society. So we'll be doing empowerment and educational workshops around a topic every month. So February is influencer marketing, but then every other month will be a different form of marketing and also a different kind of angle of things. So it won't necessarily always just be marketing. So next month is beauty and fashion industry, but obviously related to marketing as well. And then April will be like career progression. So we're making sure that we cover all different aspects. It's not just a topic as in influencer or like content and stuff like that. We'll also be doing employability skill sessions. So Laura, who was in a few slides, she's a digital marketing recruiter. She's a specialist in her area. She'll be hosting some workshops with me. We'll also be doing virtual networking events and brainstorming events as well. Super excited for the brainstorming events because I think some people always have these ideas and you never really know where to put them. So if you work in like a marketing somewhere, wherever you have marketing, whether you're on your own or you're in a team, sometimes you can have an idea or a strategy and you don't want to put it to managers or anyone just yet because you're not really sure if it's like a silly idea. But you can ultimately brainstorm with people in the member society. So we'll be holding monthly brainstorming sessions and basically just kind of get your creative juices flowing, get some ideas from people about strategies or maybe just other people helping other people out. And equally we'll be doing some brainstorming events as well, networking events as well as brainstorming events. You'll also get exclusive access to the new resources and content, including our private Instagram account, and also the Girls in Marketing Book Club with monthly Q&As with book authors and also discounts as well. So February is Influence by Sarah, and Sarah will be doing a Q&A at the end of the month, which is really exciting, and they have given us a discount for the book as well. So you can now sign up for $10.99 a month if you go to TMS, which stands for the Marketing Society.girlsinmarketing.com. It's also a pinned comment if you just want to go straight to it. But yeah, please sign up. Please come and join as a founding member. It means the world to us. You're not just investing in yourself, but you're showing that you have confidence in us and that you want to be part of our inner society and really get empowered by other marketers and build some more confidence, come to networking events. We want to build a really exclusive community for everyone and just get empowered by everything that we're doing, because I know that so many people want to get more involved and this is definitely the way to do it. So if you go to tms.girlsinmarketing.com, you can sign up. As I said, you can sign up until Sunday, so if you don't want to do it right now, that is fine, but you might forget by Sunday, and I'm not taking any responsibility if you do forget. So if anyone has any questions, I am free to do some quick Q&As. The last slide was just Q&As. So definitely put in the chat if you have any questions, whether it is about networking in general, and I'd love to answer some questions, or if it's about the Girls in Marketing Member Society, also add that in as well. But yeah, I'm super excited to see you all there and to network with more people, because I'm so excited to get some more ideas from different people, because I know that there's so many passionate marketers who's already joined from so many different industries and different levels. People that we have a forum for the Girls in Marketing Member Society, and people that have already joined have started posting in the forum and introducing themselves. And there's such a range of people from all across the world. We have people from like Australia and America and the UK. So we have so many different people at the moment, and we have some really good events as well in February. So do we have any questions? I have a bit of lag on the Q&A section, so I might like pause for a minute, but I am still here. But I'd love to answer any questions, even just about networking in general. So someone said, what's the best way you've cultivated the relationships that you've had? Definitely, I would say in terms of like just getting on phone calls, like individual phone calls with people. So obviously the kind of typical meeting people and networking with them initially, but then going away, connecting with them on LinkedIn or on Instagram, and maybe having those like more private conversations, especially if it's someone that you've particularly taken an interest to. Because I know obviously it's hard to connect with people in your industry. So if you find someone maybe on like the Girls in Marketing Member Society virtual networking event, you could separately kind of message them or just chat to them, because that relationship obviously won't happen overnight, and that's just inevitable. But what you want to do is build that relationship and kind of understand that you don't want anything from them, but you just want to build a relationship with them and for it to be strong. So someone's just asked what the valuable relationship impact was, kind of like a theory. It's not necessarily a theory, it's just more about building a really, really strong relationship with one person, and then their connections will ultimately, help you in the long term, but not necessarily doing it because you want it to help you, doing it because you're genuinely interested in it. So when Gabby and I connected over Instagram, I never would have thought that it would be what it was. Myself and Gabby have catch-ups like every week now. We regularly WhatsApp, and she's a really good friend of mine. I think we've definitely taken it further than the kind of typical business relationship. You don't have to go that far, obviously, but her connections have ultimately become my connections, because I've got that valuable impact and I've got that valuable relationship with those people that they introduce me to further people. And chatting to Katie and Leila, I'm definitely sure that we'll take things even further again, and I'll have built them as connections, and then kind of it's almost like a snowball effect, if that makes sense. So how do you bounce back after receiving so many rejections? I mean, in all honesty, rejections in terms of networking or just job rejections, because I know we've had so many people talking about job rejections recently. Deborah, amazing, signed up to the Girls in Marketing Member Society. If you haven't, please go and do it, because you will not regret it. It's $10.99 a month, and ultimately we're creating this amazing community of people. If everyone, Lucy said, can we all connect? Yes, in the Girls in Marketing Members Society. You can all connect there. We've got an event on the 1st of February that's like a networking event. So we want to make sure that everyone's connecting there. And would you ever do specialised content on certain industries such as music marketing? Definitely. Obviously, we haven't got anything planned for specific like music marketing right now, but we are focusing on industries as well as marketing in general. So obviously influencer marketing is next month, but we will make sure that we kind of focus on lots of different things. We have some ideas for kind of SEO month, for sustainable marketing. There are so many different things that we're going to be covering. It's really exciting. But yeah, I think the best way for everyone to connect really is just to join the member society. I know I'm biased, but I think that's the best thing to do. Now, on Monday, the price will go up. It'll be $12.99 for students and graduates, and then $15.99 for professionals. But something that I want to really focus on is that joining right now will be almost kind of like you're investing in us as well as a community, because we have an amazing team behind the scenes, and I don't think any of them are actually listening right now, but when they listen back to this video, they are all amazing and they are just genuinely so great. And I really want to make sure that we are growing the community and also giving our team even more opportunities. And doing this member society will connect us all to everyone, and it will also make us bigger and better than ever before. Someone said, is the platform available in the US? Yes, it is. We have a few people who've already signed up from the US. All of the times for the event will be GMT. However, they'll all be recorded. So anything that goes on in the member society will be recorded. And we will also make sure that we change the times every so often, so that people who are in different countries can come on and can network, because I know that some of the events, if people aren't really interested in coming to some events, you don't have to come to the events, you can just watch them back later. But the networking events and brainstorming events will change time, so you can always come if you are based in the US or UK or Australia, wherever you are. We'll make sure we try and tailor the times best for everyone. Someone said they lacked experience and confidence when it comes to networking, but you found it really helpful. Well, I'm so glad that you found it really helpful, and I'm so glad that you all came tonight. So, yes, someone's just said about they're looking for a mentor. So in the member society, not straight away, but definitely in a month or so, we're looking at doing like an accountability kind of partnership where it's not necessarily a mentor, but so that you both kind of learn from each other. That isn't something that is definite right now, but we are looking into doing that. So it's not necessarily a direct mentor, but it's more around just like connecting with someone and being almost paired up with someone who's similar to you or someone you can learn from. Because I don't really like the idea of a direct mentor, especially if you're like entry level, because everyone can learn from each other. So yes, amazing. I'm going to go now because that is the end of everything. But please make sure that you sign up. If you've enjoyed today, please make sure you tune in to any other webinars. We'll be doing lots more in the future. We have one coming up next month, so make sure that you look out for that on our social media channels. All our social medias are in the description. We are Girls in Marketing on virtually every platform except on TikTok. We're Girls in Marketing with an extra G, and Twitter, we're girls_marketing. But the best place to come and find us for February is definitely the Member Society, because that is where we're going to be. That is where all the cool kids will be there, so definitely come. But thank you so much for tuning in, and yes, I will see you guys soon.